implementing, that's not really, this is just what it means to me, is a 1 to 3 grading system.
Shit.
Yeah, you know, like, so like, what this means is it can be applied to their mobility, their strength, their endurance, whatever aspect of fitness you want to assess in the assessment. I think we've covered that before. So 1, mobility is shit. So if my flexibility was, I'm 1. I have shit flexibility. Meh. Good. Now, like, what that means for all of us is a little different. So, like, it'll be important for us to all assess differently. I think for Anna, shit flexibility might be having your palms on the ground while your legs are completely straight. She's ridiculously flexible. And for Max, I probably have shit strength, but Max is just strong. I probably have meh endurance compared to you, because you're exceptional, but
thank you.
of course. So that's just like how I like to put it in a frame of reference in my head. I have like clients that I can think of off the top of my head. I can fit their general physical stats in that scale pretty comfortably. And I think it helps Todd to know that like where we were gonna focus a lot. So like when he calls people after our like assessments, oh, Sam said you're a 1 in flexibility, we should have you on like a mobility program pretty soon. That way it sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, so that is my spiel on that for assessments. Is that good, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, I originally wanted 1 to 10, 1 being can't move, 10 being Olympic athlete. But after conversation with Sam and kind of running it through a couple of iterations, we came up with shit mad good, which kind of works. So the number one question I get from clients when I talk to them is, what did they think? You know, not where's my strength, mobility, endurance, but what did they think? And what I often say is, you need some work. You know, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, they think you need some work. I don't have the S-bar in front of me, so it's hard for me to riff on from that. And then I say, you know, whatever needs to get done, we're going to find a way to do it. Then I get the S-bar calling back and run down whatever you give me. Now, what I've been getting is sometimes, nice guy, that's the situation, came in, did push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and just running down with, you know, material that I can't use, right? What I need is, has 3 kids, lives nearby, used to train 3 days a week, has never personal trained before, has 1 leg, you know, things that are important that I need to know. And then strength needs a lot of work. I plan to attack that with kettlebells and see how he likes it. I plan to use Olympic lifting and see how that goes. He needs some stretching and flexibility. You know what I mean? Here's how here's some things I think would work. So that if Danny were training the client as an assessment, and by the way, he's an excellent assessment writer, and then Emily were taking that client without having talked to Danny, that just walked in, she can read through that little blurb and know exactly what she needs to do better than blank. You know what I mean? Sam, do you have any injuries today? That's a normal question, even if they've been here for 20 years. What isn't a good question is, what are you trying to get done? Like, what is your outcome? Like, what have you done in the past 3 months or years? What do you normally do? What is your, these are things I should already know because you are my client, as all your clients are each other. You know what I mean? You all share the client, so to speak. So we need a way to look at it, do it. I was at Philly recently. I think Alejandro was training. Not sure who was training, but the client was in there, and what I always do is look at the schedule, see who's there, read their bio, read their stuff. Then Emily, how are you? How's your shoulder feeling? Good. And the kids have graduated. Did they go from college? And did they, you know what I mean? I can talk to them more than, hey, how are you? I'm Todd. You know what I mean? That doesn't, they don't give a fuck who I am, right? It helps all of us when we have more detailed information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so full circle. For an example, to show us how you would use the grading scale after receiving a bio or an assessment from one of us on our trial client, let's say I call you to hear about my assessment and I have these are my numbers. I have like a 2 in strength, 3 in mobility, 1 in endurance. How would you explain that to me?
That's a great question. Well, Sam, first of all, how'd you like this session?
Steve O'Donnell whooped me like a redheaded stepchild.
Oh, you had
so,
Steve, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So he just beat the shit out of me. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it.
I've been there. Steve's beaten the shit out of me too, which is true. You have beaten the shit out of me. Great trainer.
Yeah.
Really good instructor. Did you find everything there to your liking? Was the space clean? Did Steve have good breath? They usually like that, when I say, does he have good breath? Yeah, everything's great. Right. Okay. So now I get the S bar. Sam, how are you feeling after your session?
Dead.
Little sore, right? It's not abnormal. Remember, it's an assessment, so it's the worst session you're going to do with us,
That's
right?
surprising.
This is the worst session you're going to do with us because we don't know what you can do. That's the purpose of the session. It creates a blueprint, and then we're going to create a program from that on what we're going to do to get your outcomes. Does that make sense? Great. So what we did is we assessed your strength, endurance, flexibility, mobility, agility. I'm going faster because you guys know this. I would do these. We assess your strength, mobility. I let it sink in.
So what did you think about my strength?
Well, I got to tell you, it needs work, but you knew that.
Yeah.
Right?
Fine, here.
So what do you want to do with your strength? You want to increase it, you want to get it better, but you don't want, if it's a girl, you don't want big muscles. That's just, I know it's
You don't know that.
abhorrent. Well, I've already talked to him, whatever.
You can say I'm her. I don't give a fuck. That's ambiguous.
All right, Sammy, so we want to bring that number up,
Yeah.
right? And we have a plan to do that. Your instructor has a plan to do that. When you come into your next session, it's not going to be an assessment. You went through the assessment, now you're going to actually do a personal training. So don't expect the same thing. What you might expect is you're going to still be sore. You may not be as sore, you may be sore in different places, but we're going to be working on strength because 1 being a starter position and 3 being you're pretty much where you need to be, you're kind of at a 2, you're at a low 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something you may not ask about, which is mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Your mobility is a 3. Like I said, 1 is starting, 3 is you're pretty good for where you are. We're going to still work on mobility because strength without mobility is worthless, right? But your mobility is excellent. We're not concerned about that as much as we are your strength. Does that meet with what you're seeing with your body?
Yeah.
You always check back in. I don't want to go too far off the reservation because if he's thinking, I don't give a fuck about mobility, I want to know now, right? Then I'm going to sneak it in, give them what they want, sneak in what they need. Awesome. So let's keep going down the list because you have 3 things here, but let's pretend.
Yeah.
Endurance is at a 1. Would you agree with that?
I don't. I'm a little offended. Fuck you.
You can be offended, that's fine, but we're gonna fix that. We have a way to work with you. We're gonna give you homework to do. We're gonna have you come into the facility and you're gonna do the warm-up, probably similar to what you did now. And then we're gonna introduce more opportunities for you to increase your endurance. That endurance is important because as you walk upstairs, you're getting winded a little.
Maybe.
It happens sometimes,
Feel
right?
personally
Don't be
attacked.
embarrassed. It's
I
one of those
like
things.
this.
You want to fuck around, right? I'm not all like after them. When are you gonna book? When are you gonna book? How many are you gonna buy? It's more of a conversation that like Sam and I are having. It's almost like fun, right? It shouldn't be death. So the endurance is important for a lot of reasons. One, obviously you're having issues, running up steps. You're gonna have grandkids one day. You're gonna want to be, when you're old like me, you're gonna want to be able to move, right? You're gonna be able to want to do the things you want to do. That's not gonna happen. And I gotta tell you, I know already whether his strength, endurance, flexibility, whatever his number 1 is, you're not gonna get blank without having endurance. You have to have endurance. The good news is we don't have to watch you walk on the treadmill because you're gonna be doing it in homework, aren't you, Sam?
Yeah.
Now, Sam's concerned because this means he's got to run, he's got to jump, he's got to skip, he's got to do something he doesn't want to do, which is why he hires us. Sam, it's only 5 to 7 minutes of work. You don't need any equipment. You don't need to go anywhere to do it. You could do it in a hotel room. You could do it on an airplane. A lot of the stuff we give you, you don't need equipment for. But if you need equipment, we'll help you get it or we'll provide it for you. Does that make sense? So don't be put off by endurance. I know it sucks increasing your endurance. I've been there. Thank you, Lauren.
That was fun.
I know it's horrible getting your endurance up, but we're going to make it fun and playful. What questions can I answer for you about your strength, your mobility, or your endurance?
Let's say Steve's not in. How many other parents do you have?
That
you work
is
with?
a really good question. It's not really how many instructors we have, although we have 24 instructors. They're all professional, seasoned, certified. We have male and female. They're open 24 hours. We're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We went over that when you and I talked originally. It's actually that they communicate with one another. We focus. The reason that it's called Platoon is we're a team. We work together. So you're going to have a primary instructor, but you're also going to have an answer instructor that if your primary instructor isn't available, you'll be able to choose from a litany of instructors and times and days that you need. So if you have 5 minutes to come in and you want to come in last minute, I can make that work. If you need a little later, earlier, different day, like a Sunday, I can make all that work. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So I always figure that out. Did I answer his question, or am I riffing on some shit he doesn't give a shit about? He might say, how do I know that the instructors are going to be as good as X, right? Well, they went through the exact same system, Sam. We made sure over the last 30 years we perfected how to choose instructors, how to train instructors. And one of the things that makes us different, besides we're the only company in America, fitness company in America that money back guarantees what we do and has no contracts, we also have a continuing education program called CANI, Constant and Never Ending Improvement. Again, this would be much slower, right? Where they learn. You go to an accountant, you go to a dentist, you go to a lawyer, they all have required CECs to keep their license. Our instructors are the only instructors in the nation required for their pay. They have to go, is this a lie?
No.
Right? They are required for their pay to learn. They're required to get better. They're there because they're the best at what they do. And if you find that's not true, call me on it and you get a free session and I'm gonna make sure you're happy. Does that make sense? The other thing I think it's important to point out, Sam, is you're not like hunting on an app or relying on someone else to book your sessions. We have an app to help you, of course. We also have a team of concierge people that make sure you get what you want, when you want, to the best of our ability every single time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Good. What questions can I answer for you about pricing? It's on our website. Pricing. What happens if you bring a friend for free? Remember I told you you can always bring a friend for free of any fitness level, and it won't affect the quality of your session or your ability to reach your outcomes. I can see I'm losing some of you already.
Yeah.
What questions can I answer you about Platoon?
When can I come back?
That's a great question. So let's do this. When works for you?
Tomorrow.
Great. What time tomorrow?
6 a.m.
Great. You had X. I'm going to give you Y. Is that okay? I want you to try another instructor. If you don't love them, remember it's on me. They're going to be briefed by the previous instructor. We'll choose which instructor you like out of those and then go from there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, I really want to stick, it happens. I really want to stick with Alejandro. We just vibe. Great, you're with Alejandro. Now I need Alejandro to say, you need a backup. Try Danny once. It's on us. Try Lauren, whatever, it's on us. That just ensures when Alejandro misses, leaves, dies, whatever, this client's gonna be, the focus is on the client, right? Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm gonna book you for tomorrow. Do you know where you're going? You're going to the same place you're going as you went before, 716 Walnut Street in Philadelphia. The door may be locked because we're not a gym. We're a private facility. If you need a key, let me know. Otherwise, your instructor's going to meet you at the door. He'll know everything that your previous instructor knew, and he'll know what we talked about today.
Yeah.
Now, what type of music do you like?
Let's just let's skip ahead and close it
Go,
because
go.
I think we've lost it.
All right. I keep them on the phone probably longer than I should because I want to dig as deep into that client as I can. Every once in a while I'll take the temperature. Are you still good to talk? Or whatever. But I'm keeping them and I'm digging for anything I can in there to help me make a better session, a better environment.
Yeah. So I just figured that is like a good example, like a look behind the curtain of like why this is important for Todd and the office's end, just as much as it is for us to understand why we're doing it. Does anyone have any questions about the system? Yeah.
So when you were breaking down the explanation of it, you were talking about something that I have, now I don't know if it's a concern, but a question, because now we're doing a number system, and we're all individual trainers that do assessments differently. You had mentioned how someone's strength compared to Max's might say their strength is shit. Of flexibility, like one trainer be like, oh, that's great flexibility, where another trainer might say, that's not great flexibility. I don't think that's a great way to assess in general. So is there a way for us to come together as a unit and come, well, not the entire assessment, because we still want to be individual, but in certain things, like if they can bend and their palms touch the floor, their hands get to the shin or to the knees, something like that. If we're doing TRX rows or push-ups to engage the strength piece, like is there a way to come with a standardized way to have that number system put in place?
So the way I think about it with like having kind of like a standardization, because that is a good question, it's one that we talked about for a while, is think about it like a bottleneck. 2 is going to be people in that like, or the bell curve. 2 is going to be everyone in the bell curve.
Okay.
1 is going to be the people on one side. 3 is going to be people on the other side. And by that I just mean like, you think this would be impressive enough to talk to us about, like, yo, I got a person the other day, they did like fucking 40 burpees with no break, it looked like they weren't even fucking tired. That'd be a 3, in my opinion. Like, just general, like, good calisthenic strength and endurance at that point.
Yeah.
But like a 1, let's say like this person had an issue doing box squats. Said their knees hurt. They got like some mobility issues going on. They have to have addressed because they can't do something as simple as standing up on their own. That's 1. 2, they fit within the parameters of like what you'd expect of the average person. Does that sound good?
So it kind of sounds like the 2 is a little more flexible.
Yeah, the 2 is where you're gonna have like your wiggle room.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if I said like a 2.5 or something, or like a low 2.
You could do
Like
2.5, 3.
Like
It's very subjective. There is no wrong answer. So Alejandro's, the heart of Alejandro's question is, Sam thinks Todd is a 3, and Alejandro thinks he's a 1, right? So what happens? Well, he's gonna train the client, he's gonna observe that very quickly that person is definitely not a fucking 3, right? Then he's gonna note in there, I don't know how this got written, but this guy is not a 3, he's a 1.
Right, 'cause I mean, for example, if I have a client and I say this client is a 3,
Yes.
right? And then you get the client and you write up your program for this client as a 3, and they can't do shit. Like, that's almost a waste of
That's where you're gonna make your money. So that's where your difference between an instructor and a trainer. A trainer would go, oh well, I can't do anything, we're fucked. An instructor will go, I don't give a shit what's going on with this guy, I'm gonna give him a great workout based on what's on the field. Never let a brief or what another instructor told you or what you saw online or any bullshit dictate what's in front of you. You are an instructor. You will observe and change based on what the circumstances dictate, in your opinion. I don't think you're a 3 on pull-ups, Alejandro. We're gonna drop this right now down to something else that you can do. Yeah.
I think we should look at it more as just like a vague, like blanket, as opposed to like a specific thing. Because, for example, like something like strength, like that's very, like that's strength can be such, like somebody with really good strength could mean they can deadlift 500 pounds, or maybe they can only deadlift 225 pounds, but they can do 10 pull-ups. You know what I mean? So like I think we don't need to take it so much as like, okay, I know that there are 3, so now we have to have a specific program for somebody who's a 3 in mobility or whatever like that. You know what I mean? It's like kind of just like a blanket term. It's like, okay, if this person's a 3, they probably move well. If their mobility's a 3, they can move decent. I mean, like they said, you'll find out when you end up working with them whether you think they're a 3 or not versus when Sam said they were a 3. But just like, yeah, just kind of like, it just gives you an idea like, okay, this person should have decent strength when I work with them, not like they can't pull up their own body weight on the TRX band, you know what I mean?
Has anybody in this room not trained me? Anybody not trained me? Great. 1 to 3, where am I on strength?
1.
Okay. 1 to 3, where am I on mobility?
1.
0.
All right, fuck you all. Don't get the idea. We probably
Well, so see, I wouldn't say, and this is honest, like I wouldn't say Todd's a 1 on strength.
Of course you would. Number 3.
Well, Todd's a strong dude. Now, he might not be able to fucking deadlift 500 pounds, but he's not, I wouldn't consider him a 1 on strength. Like, I've watched this guy move some heavy fucking equipment. That might not be with great form. That might be where the mobility comes in, right? But yeah, so, whatever.
Mobility, yeah.
You also got the
And I would say Steve's a 2. I mean, come on. Let's just be honest.
I have more of like a specific question, so I'm just gonna use a client as an example. So there's a guy that I train over at Kenwood, and he has low back issues, like really poor rotational mobility, but he has good mobility everywhere else. He's also really strong, even though he doesn't lift a lot. Could I like put 2 for mobility, except back is a 1?
Yeah, I'd put it as like a side note. Or
Okay.
like if it's something you would already put in like, so I feel like this could be like something general that goes on the end.
Yeah.
So like you're just like a synopsis thing towards the end. But like still list all the stuff you would, like injury history and like your general assessment. Like
Okay.
just tack that on at the end if someone just needs a real quick one. But they should be looking at the injury history and stuff too.
Yeah.
Also, maybe look at like if you're looking at somebody's like grading scale, like look at their age too, because like if you have a 70-year-old client and I mark that her mobility is a 3, I'm basing that off a 3 for a 70-year-old, not a 3 for a 20-year-old.
That's
You know what I
very
mean? So
true.
like
Yeah.
that type of stuff matters as well. As far as like an individual
The
basis.
situational awareness.
Yeah.
They're 7 years old, they have great mobility.
Say 7.
Well, at least 7-year-old clients.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, so like that's a really good point. Like take the scale, apply it to the demographic of the client. And yeah, any other questions?
Emily's up.
Yep, Emma's up.
Alright, yeah, so that was kind of a good segue into what I was gonna talk about, mainly like having the secondary instructors. So a lot of you guys I got the chance to train with back in December, January, around that time. I didn't get to train with everybody because schedules and etc. But I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience with a lot of you guys, those who I did get to train with. And this is kind of just meant to like encourage everybody else to do this. So first of all, I'm just gonna talk about some of the benefits from it. I was fucking crushed. Like after a lot of these sessions, like I actually had to move some of them because I was so sore from using muscles that I'm not used to training. So all that to say, like I learned a lot of new stuff, which I didn't think I needed to, because I've already been training here for 2 years. I've done continuing education, I've shadowed instructors, but there's always more to learn. Like even if I had some shoulder issues going into this too, and Sam helped me figure out stuff that was going on with my shoulder. Even I had, so we have knowledge about training, we have knowledge about injuries, we think we know what we need to do to strengthen a muscle or fix a muscle, X, Y, and Z, but we can't look at ourselves. So I was doing a Palloff press and didn't even realize that my rear delt is just like not even working on my left side, and I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't train with the trainer who noticed that. So that's part of it, like just learning more things about yourself. Like you can gain benefits for your own, I guess, goals, injuries, stuff like that. Like we have a lot of people here with a lot of skills and a lot of different knowledge-based, or whatever, you get what I'm saying. But I wanted to kind of also give you guys an opportunity to talk about like what things you feel like you specialize in, so that if we do have things we want to learn more about, to just get on that person's schedule. So like with Sam, it was a very like PT based session, like trying to address what was going on with my shoulder, figuring out why it's hurting, what hurts, what I can do to feel better. Scott, we did literally only 4 exercises, but it was the most calories I burned in a workout, and I was fucking dying by the end. Like it was like 4 compound movements, and that was good. Like, so you can learn from Scott how to do like a very, and this might be beneficial for a client who doesn't want to do a ton of exercises. They want to get in the gym, be in there for 20 to 30 minutes and have an effective workout. Like, okay, these are the 4 exercises that you should do if you want to burn 450 calories by only doing 4 exercises. Alejandro, your workout was really fun. Like, it was very high energy. We did a lot of different stuff, like just putting together exercises that I wouldn't think to put together. Like he had me jumping over the row machine and like using the row machine to not even be rowing, like for things like that I would have never thought to do. Steve taught me how to be more comfortable with power exercises and to just do hollow holds, which really helped me with like not, I have a problem with kind of like overextending when I get tired when I'm running, and I've already noticed like a huge difference doing that more often. Steve Ray, the assisted stretching, or I guess the weighted stretching, I do that with like everybody now, and it's like new to almost every client that I've done it with. They're like, oh, this is like cool, you're showing me something that I didn't know before. It just kind of helps like to be on everybody else's schedule and learn new things and find a variety, so you're not like stuck in your same ways. And I'm gonna shout out Pat Rufo. I know he's not here anymore, but the foam rolling, like that has helped me keep, I think, so many clients too. Like the retention with them, like I didn't know that you could just roll your quad. Like sometimes people will get knee pain because they're doing a squat or they're like in deep knee flexion, and then coming up from that is painful. Sometimes all you need to do is roll your quad, and then they're not feeling that pain anymore. Like they just had tightness in their quad. And that's like really, it's not gonna work for everything, but that's like really cool to clients to be like, oh my God, my pain is just gone. Like I couldn't do this before, right? So getting out of your own ways, learning new things that you didn't even think you needed to learn, all that. And then that's also good for having a secondary instructor. So like I shadowed Pat over at Kinwood for a while, and then he ended up having to leave. The reason I started shadowing him was because he needed a second instructor over at Kinwood. He couldn't take everybody. And now that Steve Ray is leaving, Max is over there sometimes, Lauren's over there sometimes, but I'm like the primary instructor there. People see me there all the time, they want to train with me, but my time is full, like during the times that people want to train. And a lot of the people there too that I train, if I go away, they don't want to train with anybody else because they only see me. They only work out with me. They like me. They like what we do. I try to sell other trainers, but they don't see you guys. So it would also be like really cool to have more people over there, like shadowing me, training with me, just training in front of other clients so that I could push some of them off to other people, especially like if I'm going away or we're trying to build like more of a, I guess, a presence with Platoon there. More members are trying to train. So kind of with that, I know we don't all see each other all the time. Like you guys, the Walnut folks, like we really only get to see you when you come here or if we have like a group activity planned. So I kind of just wanted to have everybody like talk about what they feel like they have knowledge in and would love to teach people or love to have any like instructor on their schedule. So for myself, I'll just start. You guys all know that I'm a runner. I have a lot of knowledge in endurance-based training, but with that, I also have a lot of experience in physical therapy. So before I graduated and even after I graduated with my degree, which is health behavior science with a minor in exercise science, I spent a lot of time working with, shadowing, studying under physical therapists and a variety of them, mostly pretty much all outpatient. But now that we're working with PTs, and now that there's such like, I think a lot of people, at least for me, I get a lot of like new clients who have injuries and kind of expect me to help them fix it, or they just came from PT and were referred to personal training. So having like a knowledge of injuries and how to kind of like help rehab them, help them continue their rehab, that's really been beneficial for me to not hurt the client and to just help them continue to see progress, because a lot of people do PT, they get discharged and then they're done. They stop doing their shit and they get hurt again. So that's where I feel the most experienced. I don't feel as experienced in boxing. I don't feel as experienced in the assisted stretching. So I'm gonna get on Sam, Bill, or Max's schedule to learn more about boxing again. And either Steve or Anna, like those are your go-tos for the assisted stretching. So kind of just, that's that. That's my plug for myself.
Couple questions.
Yeah.
So what, I mean, I know this is gonna be super general, but what made a great session? You did all these sessions. What stood out in the session that made it better than?
Like one session versus another?
Whatever, yeah, overall, like this was amazing and that was great. And you know what my next question was gonna be, which is what made it not as great as it could have been?
Yeah, so it was the thing that made it the best for me was just feeling like heard and listened to throughout the whole thing. Like there wasn't like a planned workout, or I know Steve O'Donnell had a plan. Like we were gonna go through these specific movements, but we didn't end up getting to everything he wanted to do because I was like, well, here's what's going on with me. This is what I want to learn. This is what I feel like I need. And he just adapted the whole session, and like we focused on all that, and it was great. And it's been really helpful for me going forward. So I think the best thing is just feeling like you're heard, and the specific like goals and needs like being tended to right then and there.
So if you listen, you've got 90% of your shit covered. I know that you know everything about training, but I don't really care how much you know until I know how much you care, right? Do you give a shit about me being there? Do you give a shit about me reaching my goals or maybe whatever? Everybody here does that. You just need to communicate it, and one of the best ways to do that is listen, right?
Yep.
So what made it last thing great? Could you give me some great session, anything like, I don't know, newer the equipment was, like, you know, this guy put this music on, or he was super chill and I was super hype, or what made it great or not so great?
Well, I think it's definitely dependent on the person. I'm a type of person who likes to talk. I don't want to just be in silence like the whole time that somebody's standing there with me,
Yeah.
watching me work out. So that's good if you talk to me. But I also want to be like moving, right? That's a lot of people want to be moving. They want to learn new things. So for me, the biggest thing was obviously learning new things. Like I wanted to learn new stuff that would benefit me. I wanted to learn new stuff that I could use with my other clients or members or whatever. So yeah, like variety, moving around the different rooms, like I guess very specific instruction to make sure that I'm doing something right, and also so that I could like replicate it and teach somebody else how to do it, like having the cues and knowledge of the cues and stuff like that. I guess that's my answer for that. I can't really give an answer from like a
If you watch
client
a great
perspective.
instructor, they're gonna have a magic box. They have a couple things that they can pull out that they can do. I mean, I'm not expecting you to have 10 years of experience in 10 minutes, but you should have a couple of go-to things that you can do. You can pull out almost at any time, and it's gonna be a wow factor. It's gonna be, wow, I didn't think of that. You know what I mean? You're fucked up. Something's wrong with you. Seriously. Some skill, let's call it, not a thing, skill. Why, I'm an instructor, right? Why should I get trained by another instructor? Like what, it's a time, you know, effort, they might hurt me. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I might not.
Yeah, maybe like you guys can answer that. I feel like I
was gonna say,
just
I can
did.
give the simplest answer for that, and that's just everybody's got a different way of cueing different exercises, and the way that I say something, somebody else can say in the same exact direction in a different way, and then that person get it like instantly, whereas they might not get it instantly with what I'm telling them.
Yep.
So it's just, people can teach the same exact thing and just word it a slightly different way,
Yeah,
and people
totally.
can resonate with it a lot more.
Excellent, great. Schedule with each other,
It
train
really
with each
feeds
other.
directly into CANI. It is practical CANI.
Yeah.
You go and train with another trainer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are constantly improving in the session. You are learning something new.
If you want to get better, train another trainer. Have them train you and see what the difference is. You know, I mean, there are things you can steal from them that, you know, will be really helpful. When I started with Tony Robbins, it's a great example. I almost got fired, long story short. And I just decided that I wasn't going to do it my way. I was going to do it Tony's way. I learned how to do it his way, as good or better than he did it. And then I riffed off it and did my own thing, right? But first I learned how to do it his way. So pick someone that you really want to emulate or be better, and always try and be better, better, better. There's no end. It's constant and never ending.
I feel like since doing that with everybody, I've gotten some clients who really just seem like they want a program and they don't want to come back. Like they're there for
Yeah.
the
We've
offer
had a few of
and they
those.
don't want to come back.
Yeah.
But I feel like since doing that, I've become a better trainer and have been able to use the stuff that I learned from you guys and just from my own continuing education, like how to capture them, because it's like more specific stuff that like they don't even think they need, and then you show them, like, it's just, I just feel like my retention has gone up too since working with everybody, because I've learned so much more and have been able to be like adaptive and not just stuck in my own, like, I'm a runner, I primarily endurance train, and I know PT stuff, and that's it. But now I have all this other knowledge too, which is, I just say, like, it's really been beneficial, so.
Because every client that comes in the door is gonna have like different needs and different ailments, issues, limitations, capabilities. So it's like, as a trainer, your goal should be able to you don't have to be an expert in like every field. It's impossible, really, you know what I mean? Because there's so much information and knowledge out there. But like, just have the ability to be able to work with anybody that walks through the door, or at least be comfortable with like training anybody that walks through the door. You know
Or
what I mean?
even asking, which actually reminds me, I don't know if anybody has experience training someone who's pregnant, but I just got someone who's just recently got pregnant, like very on the down low, like just got the pink line, nothing official, but I don't have experience training somebody pregnant. So does anybody? And like, could you help me?
For the
Steve's
first,
wife?
yeah, for the
Yeah.
first trimester, you can pretty much train normal with
Okay.
like no limitations, unless there's like something like comes up and she's like, oh, well, I just found that this is an issue I have. At least for the first try, like you have time to like learn some stuff, but at least for the first trimester, like she can pretty much do anything for
Okay.
the most part.
And the rest of it is positions that you have to avoid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the level of like where they're already at matters about how hard
Yeah,
they
that's
train.
true. Yeah, if they're just deciding I'm gonna start working out now
It's like
that
a
I'm pregnant, it's
trimester.
like
Yeah.
you might want to take it pretty easy, you know. If it's like somebody, you know, who's like has a history of consistently working out and exercising, then you have more room,
Yeah.
you know, to do more stuff.
Who has trained a pregnant client? Who has never trained a pregnant client? Okay, you need to get, Scott, you need to get with people and get, like, spend some time, not just tertiary, like Steve just dumped some knowledge on you.
Yeah.
I would actually spend some time, and if you want an expert, I'll send you to a physical therapist, I'll find a gynecologist. I have a ton of resources that you can go to.
Do we still have Victoria, the
We
pelvic
have
floor
Victoria,
PT?
the pelvic
Okay.
floor specialist.
Yeah,
I've referred her just like probably 13 or 14 clients.
that's great.
Pelvic floor is like it's a peeve of mine that women won't get treated for it. It takes 5 or 6 rounds and you're better and done. And you're going through life incontinent and not enjoying life to the fullest for absolutely no reason. It's just an ego. It's an embarrassment factor. But that's a side note.
Yeah, and
So-
also just another addition. So I was kind of in the middle of building my training again when I started training with everybody. And that made me a little bit apprehensive or reluctant to start doing it and getting on people's schedules because I didn't want it to fuck with my training. I didn't want to get sore and not be able to run. You can also tell your instructor, this is what I need to work on today. Can we build this into the session? Like, there's no reason why that couldn't happen and they can still teach you new things.
Great. Good feedback to ask a client too. What do you want me to build in? Or what are you doing outside that's new? What's different, you know?
Yeah.
With this session. All right, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I just want to say, train with one another. If you need the scheduling help or you need help, just go to the person, say, when can you train me? I'll train you, you train me. Danny's going to be giving a massage to Steve. Steve's going to be training, massaging, and telling Danny how he works with his clients through massage. It's just one example. I do encourage you to train with Steve if you haven't trained with him before. He has a lot of knowledge. You know, you should probably get it. I do encourage you to get a massage from the other Steve. Spend some time with somebody who you haven't trained with. If you haven't trained with Chad, you're missing something. You know what I mean? You need to train with Chad and kind of spend some time with him as well. He has some interesting ways of training that I think we could really benefit from.
Not laughing at you, Chad, just the way that he says things.
I just want to, are we done then, Em?
Yeah, I just want to put one more disclaimer out there. Make sure that everybody is asking when you get a new client and even when you're training an instructor if they have any injuries or anything.
Every
Some
time.
people didn't ask me that and I had to volunteer the information myself, which I have obviously no problem doing, but a client isn't always going to do that.
That's a 101. Do you have any, I don't care if you saw him an hour ago. I walked outside and tripped. Now I have a sprained ankle or a partially sprained or ligament or stepped on my shoulder the wrong way, right? Do you have any new injuries since I saw you an hour
fucking
ago?
killed me.
Great question.
I'm
I have the United States Olympic squash team's strength and conditioning coach. I went down to Philly, met with her in her office. Very impressive in what she's doing with, they have an undefeated team. She's killing it. She's renowned in the squash community. If you want to boost your bona fides on what you know about training squash, you've ended the conversation when you say you've trained with Bridget Romer. She's well known to be the expert in strength and conditioning for squash.
Yep.
She trains she's the first trainer of the United States Olympic squash team and has an office in the Specter Center, which is the world headquarters for squash. That being said, if you would like to go to this seminar, I need to have some feedback, because right now I think Emily. Okay, good. Email or text me, let's get this set up. Because she wants to do it, I'm paying for everything. We're gonna do it at her office, at the Specter Center. If you haven't been there, it's $1 billion facility that's just unbelievable for squash. She's got a shitty gym, I'll be honest, but it is what it is. She's a great trainer and she can teach us a lot. Alejandro, do you have something?
Yeah, so we were talking about, after you had a conversation with the squash coach about an application. A lot of our clients ask for homework to do. I did a couple where I gave probably too much homework, but we don't have to do all that. But when we do give training to clients, we were thinking about using this mobile app. The cool thing about the mobile app is we put in the workout, and Todd and I have been talking, the Platoon YouTube channel hasn't been worked on that much. I like to build on the YouTube channel. I actually want to get together with some of you guys. You train me through movements, I train you through movements, we train each other through movements. We put that in the YouTube channel. When we give our clients these workouts, the workouts are going to come with that YouTube YouTube video that's going to plug them directly into the Platoon Fitness YouTube channel, which eventually will go beyond the people that we are training and start bringing in more folks for us to be able to train.
It creates an ecosystem. It's also a good marketing tool. But more importantly, I think I could say, Emily, I really need you to work on that, Russian squat or whatever the fuck it is. I know she knows it, but wouldn't it be nice if I had a video on how she does it?
Yeah.
Here's the first thing, second thing, third thing you do. Here's how it's supposed to look goodbye.
Do you know what app it is?
There's the two of them I'm looking at. There's 100 out there. Trainerize. I really like, and Trainerize.
I think
Trainerize is $500 for the year. We get 22 instructors, which will cover us pretty much. If you guys are open to Trainerize, okay. Who wants Trainerize? Who wants something other than Trainerize?
I mean, I know how to do it.
We'll use Trainerize. I'm going to get it set up today. I'll buy it. Okay.
One more thing, if anybody's looking for clients, please come shadow me at Kenwood. If you can get there. If that's of interest to anybody and that's convenient, come shadow me at Kenwood.
I'm just saying. I know it seems like you have an open schedule.
I know that the place, the facility is not the best, but some people will come train here too, and it's still clients. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Any questions?
Before I do this,
Guys, thank you.
I want to do some. I've been doing power.